Well, thank you, Michal Mitrani, for that contribution. We go now to Adi Regev from Unilever Israel, Customer Development Director, and SelfPoint CEO, Orlee.
Adi, we're going to start with you, if that's okay.
Yes.
Can you please tell us a little bit about Unilever?
So I think it's right to speak about Unilever for all of us to understand the context of Unilever. Unilever is a multinational brand, a company that manage many brands around the globe. We are working in more than 190 countries, running more than 400 brands around the world. If we go to Unilever Israel, Unilever got very deep roots in the Israeli industry market and the marketing. As we have also very high-end big brands in Israel, like Badin, as Telma, as Click, as Bagel. We are 80% of our production is actually produced in Israel. So we are in the perfect bit between global company and the Israeli rooted company. So that's it.
Okay, that's clear. What kind of collaborations are you looking for? It sounds like, obviously you're a very big company. Israel is just as a branch of that company. What do you find here in Israel? What kind of collaborations do you seek? So Adi, how was the connection with SelfPoint made?
It's a good question. Actually, a few years ago, we decided that we want to adopt a startup mindset in terms of how we're going to approach the market. And we started with a problem. The problem that we wanted to solve is how to support the small retailers in the modern commerce world. We started to scan for solutions, and when we met SelfPoint, we found out that their solution is perfect for us because it's a plug-in solution. And if we're looking at our audience, the target audience, we knew that this is what we are looking for. And we started to work with SelfPoint on a project that's called Shoppo. We actually built Shoppo as a corporation. I have to say that in order to work with a startup, we created a dedicated team that actually behave as an aircraft launched from an aircraft carrier, working from an aircraft carrier, because you can imagine Unilever as a corporate working with a startup with a different rhythm, different way of working, different decision taking. So everything was different. And we needed actually to adjust ourselves. And this team led the projects from the definitions through the legal contract and of course through the implementation and operation. When we evaluate the potential that time, we couldn't imagine how COVID will anticipate the materialization of this potential, and now it's a written success.
Fantastic. Okay, Orlee, let's move over to you. Can you tell us a little bit about SelfPoint?
Yes, sure. So Ben, thank you, and it's a pleasure being here. I think that I'll start by sharing my screen, Adi, if you don't mind. Yeah. So SelfPoint is an end-to-end e-commerce platform for grocers. We are currently taking an active role in leading the digital transformation in grocery with more than 350 grocers across the globe in the US, Canada, Israel. Actually, we're tapping into our first chain in Europe next week. So this diagram actually illustrates the services that we provide our customers with. So the first part is the seamless two-way integration into the POS. We've built a communication layer that actually constantly reflects the products, the inventory, the prices, the specials in the website and mobile apps that we provide our customers with. And why is it so important? Because grocers have huge catalogs, and if you're not automating it, it's just not efficient enough. The second part is our white label e-commerce solution, and we are currently investing very heavily in personalization. So the personalization is really, and we're bringing the top people in order to make this superior user experience. So on the one hand, you get this customer that is getting a very personalized experience, and on the other, it makes tons of sense for the grocer because they're getting larger average baskets, they're getting higher retention rates. So e-commerce and personalizations are very tightly coupled, more than one would imagine. The third part of our solution is our fulfillment. And that is our flagship. It's one of the top products in the market. And we've invested heavily and continuing to invest here because we understand that if that is not done properly, that's where grocers start to lose money. So we've reduced picking time by 50%. We reduced error to a zero, higher satisfaction rates. We are integrated into micro-fulfillment centers, really top-line solution. And I would just mention that we are now tapping into the in-store experience and frictionless checkout because we want to provide that real omni-channel experience, the same customer across all channels. So just to give a glimpse of how the platform, how the system looks like. So I think, let's see if the slide will actually move ahead. So it's not. So I think a pretty good overview of what we provide our customers with.
Now, I understand you work with a variety of different customers. You work with smaller companies, you work with corporate. Can you give us some more background on what it's like, your experience working with corporate as a startup?
Yes. So I would say that SelfPoint is pretty accustomed to working with large corporates, like Toshiba, Salesforce, Microsoft, Unilever, of course. And Unilever, of course, yes. And we see the benefits because they have huge customer base. They have a lot of resources. They have a lot of, their data sets is enormous. If we're talking specifically about the relationship of SelfPoint with Unilever, Unilever is not just a company that sells products. They do research, they have an ideology, and a lot of this research is very relevant to us as a company, and we've learned a lot. And we also understand that, it's not only about having this great technology. You have to understand the business, you have to understand the processes. And SelfPoint has given us a very important insight of, the CPG's point of view of the industry. And so, in terms of frustrations, yes, there are frustrations. These corporates move much slower than a startup should. We want to work agile, we want to move quickly, but the benefits exceed the downsides, by far. And I think that the proof is in the pudding because we have built this, joint venture Shoppo with more than 100 grocers now selling on the platform. And I think that says it all.
Yes, I definitely get that feeling about Shoppo being a very clear, a good partnership between the two of you. So Orlee, can you tell us a little more about this picking app? What exactly is it?
I'd love to. And actually, I think the best way to understand what the picking app actually looks like is to see it live and kicking. I've prepared a short video, so I'm going to share my screen again. So you can see here a picker working in one of the stores. The system, you see that the whole solution sits on the picker's hand, strapped to the picker's arm. Both his hands are free to work. The system guides them through the store, so they're not just looking for products. Every product is scanned with a barcode scanner, so it validates that it's the correct product and the correct quantity.
Now, moving back to ID, what is your general perception about innovation in the new era?
Actually, if we are looking about a new era of innovation, it's coming from FMCG. It is not anymore just NPDs. We're actually looking for innovation all over in all our processes. And as a company that NPDs, new product development, was the core of their business, we are now looking for cooperation when it comes to the innovation for new things. Either it's with the new product, new NPDs, new generations of products, but also when it comes to processes, definitely. And this is why we are here when it comes to all the trade processes that are today's arrived to a different level of innovation and digitization. And if we're looking about Unilever, we are looking for cooperation as much as we can. A few years ago, we built the digital transformation team that is after the success of Shoppo, that is led by Yael for my team. And with this team, we are actually scouting we are defining our problems or our challenges. We are scouting for innovative companies. And this team is actually behave as the gearbox between Unilever, the big corporate, and the startup that we are cooperating with. And we are nowadays scouting for a lot of in a lot of arenas. If we're talking about promotions, if we're talking about all the shopper journey, and when it comes to also to consumer and shopper trends, and when it comes to routes to market, we are looking for all the technologies that can help us to be in a competitive edge. And actually, we are doing it via corporations with startups.
Okay. Interesting. And would you say that here in Israel you find more of a collaboration opportunity than in other places?
I think yes. I think in Israel, this arena is very productive. There are a lot of startups actually addressing every part of the value chain between us and the consumer. And we can see a lot of companies that are addressing and trying to solve and to get advanced in different part of this value chain. We are talking with the majority of them, see if the problem or the solution fits our defined problem or maybe future defined problem. We run some pilots, and actually we give we can be, as Unilever, we can be a sandbox for startups that can implement their ideas with us, and of course it can be the bridge for the globe.
Fantastic. Okay, well, thanks Adi for giving us more information regarding Unilever's involvement in innovation. Of course, Orlee from Southpoint, thank you very much for giving us more information regarding the solution that you provide to these big corporate companies. Thank you very much for giving us the information. Thank you.
Thank you very much.